this is exactly how you can reverse the chaser energy. So if you're the chaser watching this video, you just gave a lot of gold to a lot of people right now. Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Serena.
And I'm James.
And today we are sharing with you the biggest twin flame traps. Watch this video. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here today. If you haven't already, like this video, hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell so you're notified every time we come out with a new video about once a week on all different topics. So today we are talking about the biggest twin flame trap, and essentially I'd say this is kind of like one trap, but has like different sections to it. So we're going to talk about a few different things. This is kind of a continuation of the video we put out last week. So if you haven't watched that, go ahead and go watch that. I'll link it up here. And essentially what we're talking about today, we had some really good comments on the previous video that we posted, and so we kind of read through those, read through the issues that you guys are struggling with, and kind of decided to dive a little bit deeper into these different so-called traps. So one thing that had kind of come up based on this previous video, we like to think we know exactly what our partner is going through and exactly what their struggles are, and exactly what their lessons are, and exactly what they should be focusing on. But you brought up a really good point, and this is essentially when we say like, oh, my partner needs to work through XYZ, this is essentially a projection onto them. Yeah. So this is essentially a projection onto your twin of what you think they should be working on.
A lot of times we find in relationships, whether it be twin flame or standard relationship, is we see our partner, we say, you need to work on this, and this. Ultimately, those aren't necessarily things that they actually have to work on. It's things that you want them to work on in order to make your dream of how you want things to unravel to be.
Yeah.
I actually saw a video about this earlier when I was in the bathroom or the rest. That it is a lot of the times we say these are things that you need to be looking at. These are where your weaknesses are, or your lessons you need to learn, or however you want to describe it or word it. And a lot of those times, those are what we project onto someone that we want to get from them, not necessarily they need to get for themselves in order to get to a place that they want to move towards.
Right, and so this is part of being interdependent and not too toxically independent and not codependent, right? Because your partner is going to be working on their lessons, and this is where that trust and that faith comes in. Is you have to trust that they're working on the lessons that need to come up for them. And I definitely, I would say I'm probably more like this than you are. Like, I'm more likely to be the one to say like, oh, you should be looking at this, or you should be looking at that. I mean, any time that we get into an argument, a lot of times like we both do that to each other. We say like, oh, well, you should look at this, and well, you should look at that. And essentially, you guys, like, as a twin flame dynamic, this is where that twin flame mirroring comes in, right? Because when we say my twin needs to work on XYZ, or I don't want to take the lesson away from my twin, like, really what that is like, it's actually something you need to look at and need to work on within yourself, right? And ask yourself, like, it's very good to be self-aware. And yes, sometimes we do know what our twins are going through, and sometimes we do know, like, what's happening with them. But you can't actually know that 100% for sure without actually consulting them, right? And this is a lot of times in twin flame dynamics where we actually overstep ourselves, and we kind of like make them not a human anymore, because we're like, oh, well, they're my other soul, so instantly I know everything about them, or I know this, or I know that. And then we actually stop treating them as a human, kind of. We like treat them as this other person, or it's like, it's my twin, right? So then we devalue this person, thinking that we know better than they do, rather than just asking them, hey, do you think this is a lesson that you're working on right now? And then trusting when they give you the answer. Because this is a trap that we fall into all the time, is I'll think I know exactly what's going on for James, and then I'll ask him, be like, is this what you're feeling right now? Like, I think you're feeling angry. And he'll be like, no, that's not what I'm feeling at all. And I'm like, are you sure? You know?
Yes.
And so, like, when these things happen, you guys have to realize, like, you have to take them at face value, and you might interpret something different than them. And that doesn't mean necessarily you're right or wrong, and that doesn't necessarily mean they're right or wrong. It could just be two different interpretations of the same emotion or same thing. So this is why, like, you have to really acknowledge that while, yes, at the end of the day, you might be the same soul, you're two different humans with two different brains, two different nervous systems, probably two different genders, not necessarily, but, like, you have to understand, like, that the way that this functions is you're different at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So you're not going to know exactly what's living inside of each other. So the next trap that we're going to talk about is this idea that if you're stuck in this place of inaction, or you're stuck in this place of limbo with your twin, right? And you're not sure if you should reach out, or maybe you're just in no contact, right? You've been in separation, you've been in no contact, you're not sure if you should reach out, if they should be the one to reach out. And so, you know, this brings up a lot of good questions, and you guys had a lot of good questions and, like, different circumstances on this, because we place a lot of focus on the physical, should I reach out, should I not reach out? And we actually forget about the intention behind it. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I find a lot of times, like in the comments we received, people are like, well, I feel like I'm ready, but I want my twin flame to reach out because I feel like they are either the chase or runner, whatever side you think you are. It's their job. They must be the one to come to it. I find a lot of times in twin flame and normal relationships, you can't say, well, I'm ready, but I'm going to wait for that person to come through, because then there's a part of you that's not really actually ready. Because if you are like, yes, I want to do this. Yes.
Start that thought over if you don't mind.
If you're the person that's like, yes, I really want this, and you're like, open up and wait for my partner to come and, like, you know, or potential partner to come and say when they're ready, you aren't actually really showing that you're potentially ready. You say, oh no, I'm ready, but I want them to do it. But that then shows that there's a side of you that's not actually ready to take that full leap yet. So I find a lot of times people are like, oh, well, you know, I'm the runner and they're the chaser, so they should chase me, even though I'm ready, so I'm just going to wait till they come around. It's like, no, if you feel that way, regardless whether you're runner or the chaser, if you're like, I want to actually see if this is going to work, I want to take it with both hands, do it. Or at least say to this person, like, look, this is who I am at the moment. I feel like I'm ready to move forward with this. I would like to pursue whatever we have at the moment. Are you in the same place? Do you want to go through the same thing? Do you need more time? And regardless of what the answer is, there is no incorrect way to go about it. Yeah, no incorrect way.
The only incorrect way, I would say, is if your intention is not coming from a pure place, right?
Yeah.
If you're reaching out, like, via fear or doubt or insecurity, then that makes a big difference, I think. Or if you're reaching out saying, like, I'm expecting to get XYZ back, or, you know, like, back to me as a response, then I would say, like, that could be considered incorrect. Again, at the end of the day, right, that's all semantics. It's not maybe incorrect, but it could lead you to not getting the result that you might actually want at the end of the day.
Well, you're not going in with the intention of, this is where you want to progress forward. This is saying, no, I want to go forward, but I want you to say in this way here, so that, you know, I know that you're on the same page as me. It was like, actually, no, I'm going to tell you how I feel. You tell me how you feel. And then we're like, okay, well, we both feel the same. Fantastic. I'm ready, you not. Okay, cool. You know what? In my position, I feel I'm in the right spot. Then it's up to me to decide, do I want to say, no, I actually want to pursue this now and I'd like you to try it with me? Or, like, you know what, actually, I can wait a little bit longer and I can wait till you at the right point. But you're never going to have those discussions or have those answers unless you bring it up with your partner. And you got to be very honest with them and come from a place of, this is what I would like for me and potentially for us. Do you feel the same?
Right. Is it compatible?
Give them the ball. Let them make their decisions. Don't make their decision for them. Make your decision for yourself, purely for yourself, and let them do the same thing. And that way things will come around. And if they don't come around and it's not meant to be, then you have a better idea. But you need to be able to take that that leap of faith. Yeah, it's important just to it's important just to be open and honest and speak what's on your mind, wear your heart on your sleeve.
Yeah, and I think going back to this place of indecision and, like, again, this twin flame mirroring, there's a dynamic here that if you're sitting there waiting and saying, well, they must be the one to reach out and I'm waiting for them to reach out, they are probably also doing the same, you know? So there's always this thing. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day who texted who last. Right? Like, this is where I think a lot of people can sometimes get caught up, because we're like, oh, well, I sent the last text message, so that means they need to send the next one. That's not necessarily true. Again, it all comes down to intention, and this is a very subtle energy difference. But you might have been actually, if you sent the last text, you might have been the one to close that door, right? Whereas if they didn't respond or something like that, that doesn't mean it's them closing the door. So I think we need to get away from this more physical idea of who's texting who first, and, you know, like who's reaching out on Facebook and who's doing this and who's going to see somebody else, and like look a little bit deeper at the emotions and look a little bit deeper at the energy and the intention. And that will give you a lot more clue. And this is why it's a twin flame journey, right? Because looking deeper at that causes you to be more self-aware. Yeah, it causes you to be more self-aware. So you actually, like, instead of getting so caught up in the physical, you're diving a little bit deeper into like the energetics and the intention behind everything.
Yeah, and also making sure that when you do reach out to your person, that you're not doing it for a particular response from them. You're doing it because it's what feels right to you. Like, I'm getting hold of you because I want to do this. If you don't respond to me, that's, I can't say, oh, well, why didn't you respond? Because that's up to you to decide how you want to pursue that. And if I'm like, okay, well, you haven't responded, I'm just not going to message, then that's your choice. If like, okay, well, I actually will send another message, or whatever your circumstance might be, just to allow it to be like that. Do things without expectation of a certain thing coming back. Do it just purely on the fact that it's what you feel is best for you in that moment, and the best way for you to move forward.
And that's actually, you guys, this is exactly how you can reverse the chaser energy. So if you're the chaser watching this video, the reason that it feels like chasing is because you reach out or you give energy with expectation. So you're actually kind of pulling on this person's energy. And if you're reaching out with the full security within yourself that I don't even need them to respond, I'm good, I'm doing this because this is my truth and this is what's authentically coming, then when whatever happens, if they reject you or whatever, like, you're not going to feel anything. You're going to feel like, okay, I'm really glad I spoke my truth. I'm really glad I stayed true to myself. And that's actually how you reverse that chasing energy, because you're not actually looking for anything. You're already fully complete with what you're putting out into the world. So you just gave a lot of gold to a lot of people right now.
My pleasure.
Thank you guys so much for being here with us today. If you have more questions, of course, always put them down below. If you are looking for more support on this topic, you can definitely check out my relationship repair course, where we literally go over 3 of the biggest blocks that all people come across on their quest for love. So check that out. It has incredible resources for you, guided meditations, journaling prompts, everything that you need to get deep into that subconscious and to change those kind of chasing to attracting vibes. So definitely check that out. If you'd like to book a one-on-one session with either one of us, links are in the description below, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you guys so much for being here today.
Bye.
Bye.